Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Timothy here with Mana Rocks, and we are going to play a little bit more Brawl today. I really enjoy the format. I know only like 10 people watch these videos, but I enjoy playing it, so might as well record it for anybody who is interested in the format. I really do suggest giving it a shot because it is super sweet. If you like Standard, but you're not a big fan of like playing against Oko every 5 seconds, then Brawl's a good place to go, especially since Oko is now banned in Brawl. It is worth noting that it works a little bit differently on Arena than I thought it would. You can only play Brawl on Wednesdays for whatever reason. I'm sure there's some justification for it, but there's going to be Brawl Wednesday, so you won't see this content constantly, but I will try to do some brawling, I guess, whenever I get the opportunity on Wednesdays. Today we are going to play Ashiok, Nightmare Weaver. I'm sorry, not Nightmare Weaver, Dream Render. And it's a mill deck, basically. I do believe it's a little bit underpowered compared to a lot of the decks I seem to be playing against. I think the most popular ones are the Niv Mizzets, and Golos seems like a pretty popular one too. So we're going to have to play hard control against them. And I don't expect to win every single round here, but I do think Ashiok is just a sweet card. Quick refresher. It's 3 mana total in Demir colors, 5 loyalty. Your opponents can't, or rather, I should read this as it says, spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause their controller to search their library. So your opponent can only search their library if an effect that you control, like Scheme and Symmetry, tells them to search their library. But if they play something like Fabled Passage and they crack it to go find a land, or Evolve in Wilds, or maybe they play like Circuitous Route or Golos to go fetch up a land, they cannot do that. Their ability will resolve and it will do nothing. People kind of forget about that a lot, and it's an added little bonus here. Again, War of the Spark, Planeswalker, static abilities, maybe not the best idea. The big thing here, -1, target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard and then exile each opponent's graveyard. The exile here is actually a little awkward. It does make a little bit of a non-bo with cards like Drown in the Loch and Vantress Gargoyle, but you can usually control when you do that enough to make your Drown in the Loch still an effective card, or your Vantress Gargoyle, which is in here basically to tap and mill each opponent for 1. So just note that there is a little bit of a non-bo stuff going on there by exiling your opponent's graveyard. And a couple other cards, you would probably guess a good 50% of this deck. Just basically anything that's playable in Standard that has a mill clause attached to it is really good. Like Enter the God Eternals, Merfolk's Secret Keeper, Wall of Lost Thoughts. The 2 counter spells, these are basically the same card, Didn't Say Please and Thought Collapse. Yeah, like you're going to play those, and those are going to be the cards that you use to actually win. The rest of it is mainly control cards. Tyrant Scorn, Thought Erasure, Ritual of Soot, stuff like that. There's Taste of Death, a card that people might not know because it's from one of the Brawl exclusive decks. It's 6 mana, sorcery. Each player sacrifices 3 creatures. You create 3 food tokens, so kind of like a mini board wipe, right? Folio Fancies, Mission Briefing, Drown Secrets, typical mill control cards here. We've got a couple other just kind of creatures that are meant to kind of pave the way and keep us alive while we're milling our opponent out, so things like Fibblethip, Night Veil Predator, Massacre Girl, Mesmerize, and Benthid. These aren't necessary cards for the deck, but they do help us to just kind of stabilize. And then we can shift into like an alternative win condition, maybe with something like Liliana, Jace, if we need to start milling ourselves. Something along those lines, right? 2 cards that I want to mention before we get into some matches here are Scheme and Symmetry and Wishclaw Talisman. These are kind of awkward cards. If you remember, Scheme and Symmetry is a single black mana for a sorcery. You choose 2 players, so yourself and your opponent, and each player gets to essentially Vampiric Tutor. You get to search your library for a card and put it on top, and your opponent gets to do the same. Note that your opponent can still search with Scheme and Symmetry even if you have Ashiok on board, because it's not their spell or ability, but you can then minus Ashiok and just exile the card that they put on top. So Scheme and Symmetry, the best way to use this card is to break the symmetry, right? And Ashiok or any other mill card lets you do that, although something like Vantress Paladin or Vantress Gargoyle, not quite good because it's going to mill your card off the top too. The other one is Wishclaw Talisman. This is a very similar, 2 mana, and then you pay an additional mana, and you remove one of the 3 counters to search for any card and put it in your hand. The downside being that you then give the Wishclaw Talisman to the opponent. But unlike Scheme and Symmetry, Wishclaw Talisman will not allow them to search their library while Ashiok is on board because they will control the talisman, so it's considered their ability. So if they make the mistake of activating the talisman while you have Ashiok on board, it'll remove a counter, but you're going to get the talisman back, and your opponent is not going to be able to search their library. So these are two really cool cards that require very specific decks or very specific kind of interaction to be going on to be really good, and I think Ashiok is the type of card to make that interaction happen. So we're going to go ahead and play 5-6 matches, something like that. Again, I don't expect to win every single deck. This is really vulnerable against aggro decks or hard control decks, but I do like it. I've been having a lot of fun with it. And again, just to kind of reiterate what I said in my Watley video, my approach to Brawl is just to find unique, fun decks to play. Not necessarily to spike and win every single match that I play, right? So I get a little salty when I play against the Niv Mizzets and the 5-color Niv Mizzets because it's just all powerful cards, right? Sometimes I like to try and win by using just bad cards or bad strategies. And I think Ashiok is not quite bad, but it's not the most competitive thing you can do in Brawl. So we'll try to sneak out some wins here, see if we can have a little bit of fun and jump into some matches. Before we get there, make sure you subscribe below if you like this sort of content. Again, if you want to see more Brawl decks, if you have a suggestion for a good commander to play for Brawl, then let me know in the comments below, and I can definitely whip something up and play it next Wednesday. Just let me know below what you want to see, and I'm more than happy to do that. And also, find us on Twitter at MTG_ManaRocks. All right, so enough talk. We will go ahead and jump in some Brawl matches. Thanks for joining us. See you there. All right, welcome in. Match number 1 is up. We're on the play. We're against Golos, again, a very popular commander for Brawl. If you don't know the rules of Brawl, again, you start at 25 life, you get a free mulligan, and it's a one-of deck, so you can only have one of each non-basic in your deck. I'm definitely going to keep this hand. Normally, the Golos decks try to win with just super powerful cards or Field of the Dead, so I expect this deck to have a lot of ramp creatures and a lot of tapped lands, so they're probably not going to get started till like turn 3. Ashiok does tend to do pretty well, specifically against Golos, because they can't search their library, so it shuts off the enter the battlefield trigger. And I'm going to hold off on Secret Keeper and just get my Drowned Secrets going here. So every time I cast a blue spell, I can mill target player for 2. The Arboreal Grazer. Always a good one for these decks. And a lot of green mana. They've got 3 potential colors here. I think I can hold off on Ashiok for one more turn, although it might be worth just getting Ashiok down now. I would like to draw another Swamp so I can hold up Murderous Rider here, but the plus side of playing Ashiok now is if my opponent is relying on something like Circuitous Route to get them up to 5 mana, Ashiok can shut that off. And they can't really pressure it with the Grazer, so I think I'm going to do that. Start milling them. Alright, Plaza of Harmony down. And I am going to go ahead and exile some cards. Ooh, Chandra, Awakened Inferno is an extremely difficult card for my deck to deal with because you can't counter it, and I don't have a lot of ways to kill it once it's on board. I do have the Murderous Rider in my hand, but I'm glad that one's exiled. Never even seen this card. This must be some intro deck card. Alright, Feyburrow Elder. That is worth killing, but I think what I can do here, not draw a land, is pretty bad. So this is going to give them at least 2 mana. They're at Golos mana. I would like to get maximum value out of my Taste of Death, but I'm not particularly close to getting there. So I think what I'm going to do is play Wall of Thoughts and then mill them with Merfolk Secret Keeper. How scared am I that I need to hold up Brazen Burrower? I think I'm just going to go for Turbo Mill here. This is going to be 6 plus 6. This is going to be 12 cards plus another 4. So we're going to mill them for 16 this turn. Yeah, you can see just powerful gold cards. Kind of the name of the game with this and the 5-color Niv Mizzet. I do feel like if I don't draw specifically another black source, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. I saw a Garrick in there. There's a Deafening Clarion. Not a card I care too much about. And let's go ahead and pop them here. Mass Manipulation, Gilded Goose, New Horizons, Ramp, and Powerful Spells. Let's see if the opponent goes for the Golos into the Ashiok here. They do have a lot of mana right now. Ooh, untapped mana, so 5, 6, 7 mana on board, 8 currently with the Signet. And they can start activating Golos next turn. I might just Brazen Borrower it if I have nothing else to do. Are they going to kill my Wall of Lost Thoughts? Casualties of War. Well, that's probably game. They didn't kill a... Oh, no, they are killing the Planeswalker. Alright, well, Casualties of War is going to wreck us, and I don't think we can come back from that. They killed basically everything. Alright, well, we can scoop to the Casualties of War. We're missing land drops. We're not going to be able to beat this. Ashiok being on board was, you know, very good against Golos, but they're going to get to resolve Golos, get Field of Dead, and go off, and we're just way too behind on mana. I think, like, that was a fine showing to start off with, but obviously we lost to Casualties of War there, which is just insane against your Planeswalkers, but they got the enchantment, and they got everything off of that, right? So that was just a busted Casualties of War, which it usually is, but you can kind of see that's part of the metagame, right? People just play 5-color decks with powerful cards, right? And I think that's a little bit boring, but you do see a little bit of innovation here, whereas in Standard you don't. So we'll run it back for another match, and I'll see you there. All right, match 2 is up. We are against Sovereign Zargon, who's playing Corvold. We'll read that in a second for those of you who don't know what Corvold is. I think I'm going to take my free mulligan. I do have Discovery Dispersal, which can help us find an island, but I think it's just right to take the free mull and hope to actually hit lands. This seems fine. Taste of Death's actually kind of awkward against Corvold because it makes him sack permanents, but this has pretty nice progression, so I'm going to go ahead and keep this, and I think I am just going to lead off with Overwhelmed Apprentice here and set up my Scry. So, real quick, Corvold, I guess I'll play my Apprentice first and then talk about it on my opponent's turn. I'm expecting some number of people don't know what Corvold does. Brazen Borrower, Ritual of Soot. I don't know that Ritual of Soot's going to be amazing against this opponent, but I do kind of like Brazen Borrower, just as a way to protect myself from Corvold. So when it enters or attacks, they have to sacrifice another permanent, and then whenever they sacrifice a permanent, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and you draw a card. It's kind of busted, actually. Very good commander. Am I getting in there with Overwhelmed Apprentice? Probably. I guess alternatively, I can play an untapped land and go Discovery Dispersal. I think that's probably fine. Set up my next draw. I've already got mana, so that's fine. And I'll find some opportunity to play this Dismal Backwater. Massacre Girl, I don't know how good that's going to be. Mystic Sanctuary, I think these can just both go to the graveyard. Massacre Girl doesn't seem like it's going to be insane here. Do I want to draw Massacre Girl? I think I'm going to ditch Massacre Girl. Alright, not playing around haste creatures. Get in there. Alright, Mission Briefing was our draw. Surveil 2, and then basically you get to Snapcaster Mage back an instant or sorcery in your graveyard. Dispersal seems fine against Corvold, but that's a lot of mana. Savvy Hunter, probably one of the best cards you can have in that deck. And here, what are our options? We can play Ashiok, get that going. We can hold up Brazen Borrower, which isn't insane here. Or we could get a tap land down. This is going to be problematic. We didn't draw anything to really block it. None of our O4s or anything like that. Scheme and Symmetry does not seem like the right way to go right now. I think it's probably worth just playing Ashiok. Maybe. I mean, I could go Guildgate and then hold up Brazen Borrower. Then they replay this, and then I don't have much of an answer for Corvold. Although, if I do get to Taste of Death, that's going to be fine. So, I think that's what I'm going to do here. And if I don't want them to make a food, I have to use Brazen Borrower before they go to combat. Otherwise, they get a food when this attacks. So I think that's going to be my game plan. There's a good chance they just replay Savvy Hunter. And then I untap, and I'm basically trying to get to Taste of Death here. Just trying to hold things off. Brazen Borrower can only block Flyer, so it's not particularly good against Savvy Hunter. Otherwise, I might have considered just being able to flash it in and block this. I didn't have a second untapped blue source anyway, so I guess I couldn't have done that. Also played the worst of the two tap lands. Not that that matters too much, but it does matter. Gingerbread Cabin tapped. Alright, so let's go ahead and bounce this. Just make sure they don't get the food. And then I expect them to replay it. Shaboom. So next turn, if they have an untapped source, they're probably going to go Savvy Hunter, attack, and then play Corvold and sack the food. This turn, I guess Taste of Death. It's not going to be insane. I could go Swamp, Scheme and Symmetry, and then Ashiok to get rid of whatever card they play. And then set up something that can deal with their board here. I kind of like that. I will target us. Alright, so what do we got that's going to deal with Corvold? Enter the God Eternals doesn't quite do it. I'd love to just pick up Counterspell. Flood of Tears, not going to be too great. Maybe Liliana. Again, they sacrifice creatures, but Liliana is one of my strongest cards. It is a 6-drop, though. Basically guarantee I'm not casting anything relevant next turn. Maybe Murderous Rider is the right pick. Epic Downfall can also just straight up deal with Corvold for a turn. I kind of like getting the Liliana. Oh, I have to pick, don't I? Oh, they just... Did I really run out of time already? Wow, I didn't realize I was already out of time. I guess I put a Thief of Sanity on top of my library. Gross. I guess I only had 1 hourglass to start with. Interesting. Well, not the card I would have chosen. Also, apparently I can search my library, so... oh, Watery Grave on top. Awesome. That's pretty horrendous. Oh, what's my plan now? I'm going to draw a Watery Grave, so they're going to get to just use Corvold here. I'm going to Ashiok whatever card they put away. That's pretty bad. Looks like they probably just put a dud on top, I think. We got rid of a Wicked Wolf, and I thought I saw a Trail of Crumbs. Yeah, Wicked Wolf and Trail of Crumbs. And let's see. No, maybe not casting Corvold here. Oh, Bacon to a Pie? That seems bad. That seems bad to use Bacon to a Pie on that. But I'm okay with it. Ginger Brew. Okay, they want to kill Ashiok. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with my opponent using removal spells to kill my commander, which I could just replay. It does mean I have to take a turn off next turn, and they're going to be able to draw some extra cards with the Savvy Hunter. But this isn't really that bad, considering it could have been a lot worse. If I had fetched up a real card, it'd be pretty bad. But so I'm kind of annoyed. But I did kind of just talk through it and use too much time. My fault. Plan next turn is to take some damage and use Brazen Borrower, I guess. And just be able to untap and play Taste of Death, I guess. Hopefully they don't put too many other creatures on board. They just go for Corvold, and then I can make them lose their board. They have the option to draw cards here with the Savvy Hunter, but they probably don't want to do that until Corvold hits. So let's go here and pass the turn. I could cast Mission Briefing. I could have cast Discover or Scheme and Symmetry. Neither of those seem that good. Pretty far behind. I could potentially have a Liliana in my hand, which would be nice, but I don't. I strongly suspect Corvold will come down. Although it's a little awkward. My opponent might play around Counter Magic. They do not. Alright, so they're going to draw a card, get a counter. They're going to probably draw 2 more cards with the Savvy Hunter here. And even though I'm going to wipe their board... Oh, they didn't have a land drop, though. Let's go Taste of Death. They're going to draw... Maybe I can just make them draw a bunch of cards as part of the mill plan. 2 turns from now, I could potentially go Mission Briefing into Taste of Death again. So they have the option to draw 2 or 3 cards here, and then Corvold is going to make them draw 1-2 more cards. So they have the potential to draw up to 5 cards right now. Oh, right, they can sack Ginger Brute. So they're going to have a loaded hand. I've got not a lot going on here, not a lot of ways to protect my Planeswalker, unfortunately. Got some food, but whatever. They've still got plenty of cards, too. We're off to a very slow start, I would say. If I draw a land, that's almost game, right? God, if I had a Liliana to follow this up with, that would be absolutely amazing. But instead I have a Watery Grave. I could Mission Briefing back the Scheme and Symmetry. Okay, untap land, as you do. Probably get a definitely get a turn's reprieve from Corvold. And they're probably going to try and play out as many things as possible. Yeah, that one's a good one. So they're just going to discard a bunch of cards for a turn. What do I do about Feast and Troll King? Probably lose to it. I mean, even if I Taste of Death it away, they can put it back on the battlefield. Jace could probably buy me a turn and draw me another card. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and play that. Just to try and get my opponent to attack Jace instead of me. Cantrip, mill 2, draw another card. Oh, Flood of Tears isn't bad here. I mean, it's bad this turn, but it's not bad in general. Alright, pass turn. Opponent discarded Rapacious Dragon and a land last turn. So Feast and Troll King almost certainly going to kill Jace. And then next turn, we'll see what they play out here, but I might have to go Mission Brief and into Taste of Death again. Not great against the Feast and Troll King. Flood of Tears, decent against Feast and Troll King. Hopefully they just attack me instead. Nope. They go ahead and take Jace out. You got it. Oh, actually, you know what? If I can somehow get this into the graveyard and Ashiok them before it comes back, that'd be pretty good. I don't think I'm going to have nearly enough mana to try and do that, though. Garrick, sure. Still looking pretty bad for us. They're at 30 cards, too. I don't think we're winning that way. Wishclaw Talisman, huh? So I can play Wishclaw and activate it. I'm one turn away from activating the Flood of Tears then. I could also play Brazen Borrower. Ashiok costs 5 mana. Yeah, this is just altogether way too bad for us. Destroy target creature, draw a card. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if they just use their next turn, recast and Troll King, they can go maybe Troll King plus one other card. Yeah, so I think my best bet here is to go for the Mission Briefing into the Taste of Death. Yeah, that's got to be right. Also, we may find something better somehow. Surveil 2, any lands going to the graveyard. Drown Secrets is a little bit too late here. Yeah, I just don't think we had an engine card to really have a say in this match. Note that Flood of Tears will let me put a permanent into play because I will have all this food. Garrick's going to go up to a bunch of loyalty, which doesn't matter too much. I mean, they might emblem, which would be bad for me. They've got a bunch of food. You cannot Troll King on my turn. It's not sorcery speed only, but you cannot do it on my turn. All right, opponent did go for the emblem there. Ideally, I like to Flood of Tears while I have Ashiok out, because then you can go Ashiok minus Flood of Tears, put Ashiok back in, minus again, and then Ashiok probably won't die the next turn. Wolf's Quarry, huh? Those are friggin' 4/4s, and a 3/5 Gilded Goose, sure. Alright, I can take probably a hit, and I've got to maybe use Wishclaw Talisman now. Yep. Feast and Troll King back on board as well. So 13 plus 12 damage. That is lethal. You taunt me. Alright, so I did not draw a land, so I can't go Wishclaw Talisman, activate, and then Flood. What I can do, however, is Flood and then stick a permanent. Stick Liliana. That kills all the wolves. It bounces their food tokens as well. Gets rid of Garrick for a turn. And I suppose I could play Wishclaw Talisman. I'm one off from being able to cast Borrower. Alright, I think, yeah, we've got to go Flood here. And then I could either sack a food to gain some life, or I could play Wishclaw Talisman. Okay, let's go Flood him. This really only buys me a little bit of time. Oh, did I? Non-token permanents. Never mind. Never mind. So I don't get to just free roll Liliana into play. I'm assuming we're going to see Troll King again? Maybe not. Right now I'm just kind of buying time. Not really getting anywhere. Okay, Signet, sure. Signet into Garrick. Start making 5/5s. That makes sense. Didn't say please. It just feels like I'm always 1 mana away from being able to do what I need to do. Being able to cast Liliana and hold up a counterspell. I'm probably going to go Liliana here. Each player sacks 2. They can emblem again if they want. Sure. Just buy myself another turn, I suppose. Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't think I'm supposed to Wishclaw here. That seems really bad. I said go ahead. Oh, waiting on triggers, I guess. Yeah, so Garrick goes up to 1,000,000. If they want, I mean, that would be awesome for me if they emblem, because that's 2 less creatures I have to deal with, but I don't think we're winning from this position. Okay, 5/5s coming down, as you do. They have trample as well. Oh, they have trample. So gross. Yep, there goes Troll King. And what could I even Wishclaw Talisman for? Ritual of Soot? Gilded Goose. I mean, Ritual of Soot kills everything sans Feast and Troll King. I don't think we're winning this game. Ooh, they have Spark Harvest. Alright. I have seen enough of this one. Not a great way to start off this video, but I do think that was a particularly weak hand from us. A little bit of a bummer. We didn't have basically any of the other mill cards going. Nothing to block early, and our Ashiok got beaten up by a Ginger Brute, so it's a little bit awkward. Normally you're doing fine against little aggressive creatures, but start off 0-2. We'll go ahead and run in and jump into another match. Alright, welcome back. We are on the play. We've started off with 2 losses here. That's fine. We're against Yarrick, another powerful one. This is the one that doubles your ETB effects. Flower Power is the name. I'm going to keep being able to have a defensive play into a Thief is fine. Flood of Tears, I like this card just in the deck in general, although I'm not a huge fan of the card as a whole. But I think it's nice when you're playing a Planeswalker as your commander. Folio of Fancies, we could just try and get our opponent here. I kind of like playing the wall first, though. Actually, Folio doesn't seem bad. I'm going to play Thief next turn, though, is the thing. So I'm not going to activate the Folio. Let's go and mill him. Evolution Sage and Cavalier Thorns to the graveyard. Fine by me. Do you have the Signet as well? Yep, they always have the Signet. Always have it. I can play this untapped because I control an island. We'll play a Thief and pass. So they're going to have a turn 4 Yarrick. They could be playing Elementals. They could just be playing powerful ETB effects, which is what you do with Yarrick. And Mana Geode. Yep. So they could have something this turn as well. But turn 4 Yarrick is tough. The lifelink I don't care about. The Death Touch does mean I can't just like block with the wall forever. And you have a 2-drop. Crow Harpooner, of course. Of course. Of all the cards you could have. What a perfect sequence in of cards from the opponent. The turn 2 Signet, Mana Rock into Kill Spell. So we are now on the Folio of Fancies plan. My opponent's almost 100% playing Yarrick next turn. Because that gets them started, right? Yarrick, and then they can start playing their ETB effects for maximum value. Oh, Merfolk Skydiver. Interesting. So that plus something else. Okay, they want to draw a card with Zagana. Sure. Zagana becomes like a 19/19 or something. Well, I'm going to let you draw another card, mostly because I want to draw another card. I guess they wanted to play cards out of their hand with because of the folio. Alright, so here they're going to be able to make this an 8/8 with trample. They're going to be able to pressure Ashiok quite a bit. Maybe I should have played Ashiok on turn 3. So I can go Drown Secrets for sure. And then if I play Ashiok, it's going to die. So I think I'm just going to use this turn to activate folio. Let them draw. Activate Mill 5. And I'll take my beats this turn. Next turn, probably go Flood, kind of reset things. There's a Pelt Collector. It looks like my opponent went for like a +1 counter theme or something. I don't know. It's just cards. And Raise Forerunner, very powerful. Build your own Craterhoof Behemoth. And Flood of Tears is pretty good. It just sets them back on all this mana too. Rolesque. Okay, so let's put some +1 counters around and jam for 1,000,000. Take 8. I accept my beats. Merfolk Secret Keeper. Alright, question is, how long can I coast off of my life total here? Because every turn I wait makes this Flood of Tears better. Am I going to die next turn? 6, I guess. So what I can do is go Secret Keeper, mill. Mill for 6. Cast Secret Keeper, mill for 2. And then Flood of Tears to potentially go... Or I guess draw us a bunch of cards. It's kind of tough. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Probably supposed to just Flood, right? Make them use a turn to replay their stuff, I guess. I'm going to be greedy, I think. I'm going to be super greedy. Like, super, super greedy. Nissa who shakes the world. And I'm actually debating just playing Ashiok here as bait to try and get him to attack Ashiok a little bit. Or I can mill them for 5 on their draw step with the folio, or have us each draw 2 cards. Kind of like the Ashiok bait, though. I mean, if they have a way to kill us, they can just kill us, right? Alright, mill you for 4 more. I assume Ashiok will die next turn, but we got him down to 22 cards. And I will pass. Can't activate folio. Yeah, so opponent went with +1 counters for Yara. Kind of neat. Could also be Merfolk. I guess this isn't a Merfolk, right? It's a human mutant or something. Yeah, human mutant. Alright, what do we have here? They are limited on mana. It's very risky for me to not just use the Flood last turn. But being able to Flood and potentially have an extra mana... Okay, looks like Proliferate, potentially. Cool with that. Oh, they get to... Oh, no, they don't have Yarrick out. I was going to say they get to copy this ability, but they do not. The Great Henge. Oh, that does draw them cards. 2 mana Great Henge. What a card. So 2 green mana. I don't care about them gaining a life. I don't really care about them drawing the extra cards because at this point that's a detriment to them. And it's not a May ability, so anytime a creature enters the battlefield under their control, they have to draw a card. Neat. That didn't look like a tree, but whatever. Alright, we're using more of our mana this turn. Gotcha. Kiora, sure. Kiora can untap a permanent. So they can use the Henge again. Okay. So opponent's just doing tons and tons off of these mana dorks. Alright, Leafkin Druid comes in with a counter. Oh, they draw... No, again, they don't draw 2 cards. Although with Yarrick, they do get to draw double cards with the Great Henge. Alright, let's see how they attack. They might ignore Ashiok. I don't think they will, but they might. Ooh, they are ignoring Ashiok. So this is 7 plus 7. That's 14, putting me down to 3. I could block here, but I'm not going to. Alright, basic land off the top would be awesome. Untapped land would be awesome. Not quite. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go mill you for 4. That was a Cavalier, which matters quite a bit. And then I'm going to Flood of Tears. Mill you for 2. I have 14 cards left. I'm going to put Ashiok in my hand. Everything gets bounced here. And then I can put one thing into play. I think I'm supposed to put Drowned Secrets. And the next turn I can mill 12, right? I can go mill 6, mill 6, mill 2. Yeah, I can... If I put Drowned Secrets into play and they don't blow it up, I can mill them out with what I have in hand here. And it's very limited what they can actually cast this turn. I mean, these 3 cards are the only ones we don't know about. They can't afford to just, like, play Mana Rocks this turn. 13 cards left in library. Yeah, so this is mill 6 for 1 mana, mill 8 for 2 mana. This is mill 6, so for 4 mana I can mill their whole library. I mean, they might just play, like, Mana Geode here. Cloudkin Seer. That's not going to do it. I wonder if they have a way to stop themselves from dying with an empty library. Probably not. So I think we're going to cheese this one off of the Flood of Tears. Although, I'll give my opponent some credit. They had a very perfect start against me, even having the Krell Harpooner. Alright, Enter the God Eternals would be nice here if I wasn't already going to kill them. So let's go mill you for 6. Field of the Dead, nice. Krasis, and then mill you for 6 again. And then I can just pass the turn. Could cast Ashiok just to exile that stuff, make sure there's not a way for them to, like, shuffle a card into their library or something like that. But cool, we got to do the thing. Really getting to see the power of Drowned Secrets plus Flood of Tears there. That's really just kind of the point of Flood of Tears. Flood of Tears is to be able to stabilize the board, drop one of your engine pieces, and then keep going from there while your opponent has to rebuild, and then you get to kind of play the control game. So that puts us at 1 and 2, but who's keeping count? We'll say 2-3 more matches, something like that. We got to see what we were trying to do in that match, and we got to do it against Yarok, despite my opponent not casting Yarok. So let's jump into another match. See you there. Alright, welcome back. We're against Feather. Opponent is Macroc. I don't know how good we are against Feather. Feather's one of those commanders where if you kill it on sight, their deck gets a little bit worse, but if Feather's allowed to live, you're probably in trouble. And we don't really have a good way to deal with Feather right now, so it's probably going to live and we're probably going to lose, but I accept. Massacre Girl seems like it could be relevant. We're going to go and drop our Drowned Secrets here. Revenge of Ravens also seems relevant against Feather. Not, like, amazing, but relevant. So, Hushbringer. ETBs don't happen, and Death Triggers don't happen. Good to know. Am I just casting Ashiok here to get some mill going? Doesn't seem amazing. I probably get at least 2 mills off of it. I think I'm going to do that. Massacre Girl will not trigger with Hushbringer on board. And we expect to see a lot of pump spells, so Ashiok could bite the bullet here. Not too worried if my opponent wants to play Ashiok instead of Feather this turn. That's awesome, since my hand doesn't really interact with Feather at all. I feel like I'm probably just dead. Especially since Massacre Girl would be my way to mop things up, but I don't have the means to do so. Yeah, I don't see this match going particularly well. I could stick this, but that's just a way to keep us alive, really. I don't really have a turbo mill plan going or anything like that. I guess I just go Folio. I could play Mission Briefing and try to hit, like, Epic Downfall Not sure how good that is. I might just draw a card with the folio here. If that was the case, I should have used this first. Some haste creatures out of the way. Yeah, Hushbringer's actually kind of relevant here, because Massacre Girl could do some work. Probably won't, but could. Haven't drawn the hands with, like, counter spells or anything to help us out. Dreadhorde Arcanist, sure. I accept the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Moment of Heroism, just getting in some extra damage. So they do have to send Feather at Ashiok if they want to kill Ashiok, though. Alright, Hushbringer at Ashiok makes a little more sense. Alright, we're going to go ahead and draw some cards. And by that I mean one card. Night to Veil Predator seems pretty good here. Black mana. Alright, so again, Massacre Girl doesn't do anything. I'm going to just trade off Ashiok to mill my opponent. And hold on. Oh, I guess I'm locked in now. Oh, I would have canceled that, because if I cast Night Veil Predator first, I get to exile 2 more cards. Like, what if I mill them into a 1-drop? I am going to play Night Veil Predator here and ship the turn. Yeah, these 2 cards should be exiled. Okay, it didn't matter. Night Veil Predator will trade for basically anything here. I'll probably block Hushbringer. Solar Blaze. Each creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Alright, so conveniently all their creatures live, as you do. I am dying the slow death, and I don't have a board reset this time. Options, they definitely have the God's Will, and they always have it, even in best of 1. I think I'm going to cast this Mission Brief and then just try to hit something. Alright, Wishclaw Talisman. Going to ditch these both. Yeah, I'm going to ditch these. They don't do anything. And then I can mill them for 6. They can cast some spells, get them out of their hands. Alright, this mills them for 6 anyway. I'm going to go and cast this. There's the God's Will and Samet Sprint. Just putting in action for Dreadhorde Arcanist. We milled 4 lands. And passed the turn. I mean, they're down to 20 cards, but we're possibly dead this turn. If not, for sure next turn. I mean, what happens if we draw Ritual of Soot? Would be good. Liliana, not so much. 3, 4, 5. This attacks and adds at least 2 power, so that's 7, 8, 9 that we know about that our opponent can do. Gideon Blackblade. Sure. Okay. I'm fine with Gideon, actually. I'm hoping they choose God's Will and not Samet Sprint. Okay, moment. Because I don't want them to have a way to give haste. Well, they chose Samet Sprint. Sure, sure. Sure thing. Yeah, you can see Massacre Girl wouldn't have mattered here. There's no 1/1 to kill. And is there a way for me to mill 20 cards? 18 cards? Probably not. This is 6. 7, 8. And I don't even have a 7th land to activate this. So I can go mill 6. I could try to mill them, but they cast all the spells in response. I can mill them for 5 now. Plus 6 is 11. I could go Mission Briefing. Oh, this exiles itself. Well, alright, I don't see a way to win this match, so we'll go and concede and play one more here. Yeah, our deck is not ticking. It is not ticking. Unfortunately, we're not drawing our counter spells. We're not drawing our removal spells. We're actually not drawing particularly well in general. But we'll play one more here and see if we can mill out our last opponent. Again, not a great showing for the deck, but you get the idea, right? I said we were soft to aggro decks, and we just didn't have a timely way to deal with Feather. So we will run it back for one more match, maybe one more after that. Alright, welcome back. We are here for match, I guess this is match number 5. We've lost 3 matches, not doing so good, against another Corval deck. Ooh, you can click the thing, that's nice. I'm going to keep Drowned Secrets is probably one of the best cards we can have on turn 2. We're on the play, so we get a little bit of time here. Actually, we can't even play it on turn 2 because of the way our mana worked out, but we'll play one of these and maybe spike a basic off the top. Opponent has a slow start. I'll be pretty happy. Scryland, huh? Probably Thought Erasure on like turn 4 or something. Not as good. Not by a long shot. We're keeping a card on top. Alright, well. Yeah, let's just play the ones we know are coming in tapped. And then probably play Drowned Secrets next turn. Do we have a 2-drop? Oh, Dreadhorde Invasion. Alright, this card doesn't scare me as much, because it takes a while to get going. It is pretty nice with other, whatchamacallits though, other adventures. Doesn't matter which land I play this turn, because if I play the Swamp, then the Fabled Passage comes in untapped if I play the Fabled Passage. I guess I actually want to play the Swamp. I don't mind drawing more lands right now. We have a decent hand here. We get to mill for 8 next turn and strip them of whatever their best card is. This is not a bad blocker for now. Leyline Prowler. So it looks like possibly just precon. Ooh, Ritual of Soot's going to be good. I don't think I play it right now. Maybe I can get, because this is what, 4 or less? 3 or less. I could actually just gank this Leyline Prowler. Actually, I might do it right now. It takes off a mana source, which matters a lot. Or I could Thought Erasure and Wall. No, I'm going to go ahead and kill their Mana Dork. And killing the Dreadhorde Invasion doesn't matter that much. It also looks like they might be hurting for red mana, so killing that might cut them off of red mana here. Guess not. Yeah, they are hurting for red mana. I don't have a clear way of killing this one, though. Although Bond of Insight can get back Ritual. So what are we doing here? They're going to Corval next turn. I don't have a way to currently kill it, but maybe I can Surveil towards one. Ritual of Soot does not kill it either. Alright, let's see what's in the hand first. So, mill 2. Order of Midnight Pollen Bright Druid. Okay. So, if they cast Corvold, they're not casting any of these cards. So, which one do we really want to take away? Could see taking Keeper of Fables. I think Rhythm of the Wild is the worst for me. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to pitch this away. And then I'm going to play Wall of Lost Thoughts. And mill them for 6. Angrath. Yeah, I think this is just... oh no, they put a couple other cards in here. The Adventures, Murderous Rider, Order of Midnight. Those cards are not in the precon. Rankle. They're going to make me discard a card? Well, Rankle off the top is very annoying. Super relevant off the top as well. I mean, obviously they make me discard, right? God, it had to be stupid haste creature off the top. I'd rather you just play Corvold. I assume they choose each player discards a card at least. Sacrifices a creature as well, because this is going to regenerate itself. And just when I looked like I was doing fine this game, I think I'm not going to be able to keep up with Rankle making me discard my hand. Yeah, discard a card, sacrifice a creature. Oh, I have to choose first? But it's your turn. Why do I have to choose first? I guess we choose simultaneously. So, I guess I need to empty my hand. So, let's get rid of Bond. Then we'll, like, Mission Brief in. Maybe Ritual. Guess not Ritual. I could go Mission Brief in. Actually, I'm just going to play Fibblethip to try and hit another land here. Draws an extra card as well. Drown in the Lock. That can actually kill Rankle. Yeah, that's not bad. Killing Rankle doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world. Here comes Keeper. Sure. And then I can Mission Brief and back Drown in the Lock. I'll let him attack, sure. I'll give him the Give him the satisfaction. Let's go ahead and drown Rankle. Mill for 2. Get in there. Not super far ahead on cards. They still have 34, and they do have board state. All right, we can go Signet. I mean, we know their hand. Actually, we don't know their hand. We could go Signet, Arcane, or Mission Brief, and Drown in the Lock. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let them hit me with this Keeper. Probably taking at least 6 this turn. They might play Judith. I do need to hit a board wipe. I mean, if they play Judith, then I might rather go Mission Briefing into Ritual of Soot. I mean, they're not casting Corvold. I'm going to let them hit me here. Draw a card. That helps me a minor bit. Still 32 cards is rough. Yeah, I don't think they're casting Corvold, so we'll see what to do with our Mission Briefing here on end step. Still waiting for red mana. Okay, they did go for Corvold. So I'm going to Mission Briefing in response, because if I see, like a, I don't know, a board wipe or something on top, then I can reconsider. Oh yeah, we don't want to draw these at all. The one of Persistent Petitioner. And then do we want Drown in the Lock? That's the only thing we can cast. So yeah, we will Drown in the Lock. Actually, I can let this resolve and then they have to sack a permanent. And then I can kill it. It basically puts them down one more card because they have to draw. They sack that. Oh man, Taste of Death off the top one time. Liliana one time. Alright, so now we kill Corvold. Mill you for 2. Mayhem Devil, Priest of Forgotten Gods. If I don't draw anything, I'm just going to start using Ashiok and have that be my way to get a little bit of extra mill out of them. Folio's not bad. Folio's not the worst. I am falling behind. I need to find a way to combat what my opponent's doing here. I got rid of a Thrash and Bronodon as well. Mill you for 5 or draw 2 cards each? That's the question right now. Drawing the 2 cards from my perspective seems pretty good. Am I milling you for 5 though? I think I actually need to draw cards here. And then question is, am I blocking with Fibblethip this turn? So opponent has 7 mana. They're looking at their graveyard. They have 1 red source. So they could cast Corvold this turn. Golgari Finebroker. Sure. Let's see what that gets back. Probably something I can't beat. Thrash and Bronodon, maybe? Wish I had exiled their graveyard now, but it's fine. Flood of Tears would be very nice. What could they even get that's that bad? Thrash and Bronodon, not too bad. Murderous Rider. Oh, Order of Midnight, sure. So they're going to basically get another card back with the Order. Interesting. Judith makes sense. Again, I'm going to let them hit me this turn for 5. Let them draw an extra card. And then we're going to draw 2 cards on end step here. Alright. I do need to find something pretty good here. Merfolk, Brazen Borrower. That's not nothing. So what do we do here? We definitely cast this. Go mill you for 6. 15 cards left. Cast this. Mill you for 2. And then we could go Ashiok, mill for 4. We could also use Folio and hold up Brazen Borrower. So we can do one of these things plus hold up Brazen Borrower. Order of Midnight, if I exile their graveyard now, yeah, I probably need to get rid of their graveyard so Order of Midnight can't get back like Sir Conrad or something. Also, Ashiok baits him a little bit here and mills 6 cards. Mill 4 more. That puts him down to 7 cards. Alright, well, if we can survive this turn, I'm feeling pretty good, and I've got an unsummon in my hand, so I kind of like the Brazen Borrower here. Let's see if they can muster up a win. They do have a million cards in hand. A little bit constrained on mana, a little bit, but not a lot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, 1 red source. Can't search their library, not that that matters. Order of Midnight, not super good. I have 2 chumps and a bounce as well, so I think we might be able to survive this turn. There's no way they're casting Corvold. That doesn't really do that much. Fabled. Oh no! Don't crack the Fabled Passage, opponent. Don't do it. Remember, my opponent can't search their library, so if they crack Fabled Passage, they basically just send it to the graveyard. Which would matter if they had Corvold out, but they don't. So Death Sprout, they can't search off that either. Okay, well, I think we don't have any responses to that. So that was just 4 mana kill a thing. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, opponent, you just... Ugh. Alright, well, they just blew 2 Rampant Growths. They might have been counting on that extra mana, too. So if I block here, I take 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So block the biggest one, and then I think Bouncing Judith actually gets rid of 5 damage, right? Because it shrinks everything else. Yeah. Block there, bounce Judy. Then I take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mill for 2. Orzhov, Enforcer, and Plague Crafter. Alright, and now I have enough mill. They have 4 cards left, so Ashiok alone is enough to mill them out. And then I can force the draw with Folio before they have a chance to, like, somehow get something back on top of their library. So I think we get to take this one from the Corvold. Sweet to Vengeance against Corvold. Do see how close these decks get, though, right? given like maybe 2 more turns, my opponent just wins there. So yeah, that puts us at 2 and 3. I will play 1 more and then we'll call it a set after that. Just see if we can go even with this deck, right? And that would be nice. I just want to go even. The deck's fun to play. Again, not incredibly powerful, but fun to play. So 1 more match. Thanks for joining. I'll see you there. All right, here we are. 1 more match, win or lose. We're on the draw this time with a hand, I guess. We're playing against Mono Black Ayara. This pings us whenever a black creature enters their side of the battlefield, and then they can tap to sack it and sack a black creature to draw a card. I'm going to keep this hand. Massacre Girl does seem relevant against this opponent. They're probably playing like the cat and stuff like that. Apparently also Ginger Brute, which we're going to be able to block here with an Overwhelmed Apprentice. Ooh, we got some lag going on. Change my Fox Blue. So, mill a Dread Presence and a Swamp. I do want this Drown in the Loch. And do I want the island? I don't think I want the island. I've got plenty of time to draw into more lands here. Do have an answer and a counter spell for a big thing. Epic Downfall is 3 or greater, so it can take out Ayara. Ooh, Priest of Forgotten Gods is strong. Massacre Girl looking good, though. Alright, so we can Drown in the Loch for 2. If we really need to, we could kill Priest of the Gods. Not really what I'd love to do with Drown in the Loch, but I believe Ayara triggers off herself as well, right? Yeah, so if she enters, I also lose a life. They gain a life. Yarick's Fenlurker. Do we want to just counter that? And then we can hold up Didn't Say Please next turn? I think I am. If Fenlurker resolves, I have to exile a card. Yeah, let's just counter this Fenlurker. And then they can hit me with Ginger Brute. I get to hold up Didn't Say Please next turn. Sanitarium Skeleton, sure. They don't. Ooh, Drowned Secrets is so tempting to get down here. They can priest away my overwhelmed apprentice. That seems pretty bad. They can also kind of control the Massacre Girl a little bit with the priest. It's probably in my best interest to hold up Didn't Say Please, since my opponent does have the priest active. That gives them additional mana. They could just slam like a big 6 mana play next turn. Yeah, Massacre Girl's actually not great in the face of this priest, unfortunately. I mean, if they go sack to kill my Overwhelmed Apprentice, that's not really that big of a deal, right? I think I'm just going to counter Ayara. Yeah, well, we didn't hold up our mana to do nothing. This makes them waste next turn to replay Ayara, essentially. And that's if they want to use the priest. Ooh, we got rid of the witch's oven, so the cat combo has been disassembled. We're going to go Fabled Passage, Drowned Secrets, pass turn. And we get to hold up Brazen Borrower. Thankfully this 1/2's been blocking for days. Alright, so they can priest again if they really want to. They sack this and this, and then they use their whole turn to cast Ayara. I'm gonna let that happen. Yeah, I don't have a choice anyway. And then Ayara comes down for 5 mana. Do I just want to bounce Ayara and then exile their graveyard, get this stupid thing out of there? I could also see bouncing the priest. I am going to use this Brazen Borrower on end step regardless. What am I using it on is the question. I kind of want to bounce the priest and then exile their graveyard with Ashiok next turn. Bouncing Ayara just gives them extra triggers too. Alright, let's just get Ayara out of here. Oh, shoot, I have to crack this first. Get a swamp. Give us this sweet, sweet Massacre Girl mana. Let's bounce Ayara. Mill you for 2, get some extra cards out of the deal. Epic Downfall, Blacklands Paragon. Sure, just black cards. Alright, that is not a bad draw, so we can go Ashiok. I'm going to go and exile their graveyard while they have the Sanitarium Skeleton active. Legion's End. Price of Glory. I'm sorry, that's Price of Fame, right? Ooh, opponent concedes. Okay. Well, I guess they don't want to play against the Graveyard Hates. You do get that a lot with this deck. I've noticed people do concede. I guess Mill's not the most fun thing to play against. Case in point, Throne of Eldraine Limited on Arena. But there you go. We won some, we lost some. Started out pretty sketch. Not entirely sure we would have even won that last game, but we can set up a turn where we go Brazen Borrower into Massacre Girl, and then the Borrower will get the chain going because it'll die to it. So I feel like we were doing pretty good that game. Not amazing, but just fine. Opponent decided they didn't want to play against the inevitable Mill in their mono black, probably Graveyard Matters deck, right? So we get to take it down 3-3. Not an amazing showing, but hey, I said this at the onset of the video that I don't build my decks to be the most competitive thing in the world. So we'll go and wrap it up there with some Ashiok Brawl. Again, if you want to leave a suggestion on which commander you would like for me to build a Brawl deck for, please do so in the comments below or on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at mtg_manarocks, and if I hear suggestions, I will do my best to build a deck around that commander. Remember, any Planeswalker or legendary creature that's currently in Standard, with the exception of Oko, makes for a viable commander. And I'll build basically anything. I just think this format's super fun. So thanks for hanging out with me. That's going to do it for the vid today. See you next time for some more Brawl. My name's Timothy here with Manarocks.